Hi, I'm glad you found my channel. This is Esther from Stampin Star Creations. I'm pleased to announce that I'm one of the new admin on the Christmas Stampathon 2020 challenge page over on Facebook. So for this month we are doing a sketch challenge, so using the sketch that I've just showed you, and we're going to be creating a card based on that design. So I'm using some of these beautiful Botanical Medley set that's available from the mini catalogue, and like most of our designer series paper, they are double-sided, so you've got a lovely print on one side and black and white on the other. I've gone ahead and chopped out a piece. I haven't given you the measurements because I end up die cutting this later. I'm using Merlot and cutting that out with the 1 3/4 inch circle punch. So taking inspiration from my colour palette, I'm using Merlot and Old Olive to colour this paper in with the Stampin blender pens. So giving my ink pad a squeeze to create a palette on the lid. So going in with the leaves with the Old Olive colour and turning the berries red with the Merlot. So I quickly learned that you don't have to spend ages and ages colouring this, you can just do a quick sort of colouring in with the Merlot. I'm cutting down a piece of Old Olive. Now again, don't worry about this because I end up die cutting this later. I bring in some black and white contrasting paper, and that's going to be mounted on some pretty peacock when we finish. So I just cut this down to size to 3 7/8 by 5 5/8 to fit on our UK A6 size card. And just positioning everything in place to see how it looks. Now I don't end up using that white stitched die shape, I'll show you later. So using some of this beautiful cross grain ribbon for my card and just tying that into a bow. I'm using the stamp Joy to the World from Itty Bitty Christmas. I needed something that would fit within the circles. So going in with my 1 1/2 inch circle punch to cut out that to fit into the circle. I found the white a bit stark, so I'm just sponging around the edges with Old Olive to make it blend in with the colours. Now I had also these shapes that came with it. My sister kindly sent me a sample of these papers, and so I thought, I could incorporate that in. I cut down a piece of Merlot to replace that white tab. The white just looked quite stark on the card. Going around the shape with it, sponging the edges to blend that in with my sentiment. I felt that this card needed more detail, so I brought out my stitched dies to add some just stitched detail around the edging. Now the circle was just a bit too tight to cut out, and I missed that, so I had to cut another one of those, but it worked fine with the label by just cutting the square around that. Then I bring in the rectangle framelit dies to cut down the Old Olive card and the matte and layer. So I think in the end I might have had to move the die up to just chop the bottom. I felt the black and white paper needed some attention, so I've got out my sponge brayers and I'm going to do an ombre effect with the Merlot on one side. And I'm concentrating on the bottom half to create that darker shade at the bottom. And then turning around and going in with Old Olive. Now it might look as if I'm moving my sponge backwards and forwards, but when you apply the ink you want to go in one direction. I think it's just because of the way I sped up the video, it looks like I'm going in more than one direction. So pasting this all down with some multi-liquid purpose glue. I remember my own tip to line it up on the grid paper. For some reason I work at a funny angle and things end up going wonky on the cards. So trying desperately to remember to use my grid paper to help me align my layers for my card. I pop up the sentiment with dimensionals. These just, again, add some dimension, and then sticking down the centre of the bow and then the two ends to make sure that it stays where I wanted it to go. I go ahead and colour in some pearls using my Stampin blends, trying to get the right colour by mixing the, I think it was cherry cobbler and a rich razzleberry. So by the time I come and stick these pearls down, you can hardly see them. They just camouflaged in my paper. So I get out Old Olive and I used the bigger pearls. I put one down just to make sure it works first rather than going ahead and doing 3. But you can actually see those much better now. So here's the end result of the card. I hope you liked what I made today. Do join in over on Facebook, and that's me just comparing the card to the sketch at Christmas Stampathon 2020. Thank you so much for watching. If you like my card, do give me a thumbs up today. Happy to receive comments and to find out what you like. You can subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button for those notifications. Have an amazing day. Lovely of you to join me. Thank you and goodbye.